So tell me again, the wisdom. You've been researching wisdom.
Right. And what I'm seeing is the Old Testament prophets, some of them, such as Daniel, for example, they were compared to the sorcerers, magicians, and so forth in Egypt, and also Babylon. Those are two places in the Bible where there's a comparison made between the two.
Okay.
And as I began to look into that, I began to notice, I think it's in the book written by Michael Heiser. That's one of the books,
Okay.
The Unseen Realm.
Great book.
Yes, very. And he talks about these ancient sages that existed before Noah's flood. And there were 7 of them, according to Mesopotamian information and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And how one of the things that they did was that they imparted their form of insight or wisdom into mankind. And what he points out in the book, and also in some other material that I have had the opportunity to look at, is that the Bible is more or less a polemic and argument against what took place with these sages and magicians.
Interesting.
You know, and the Bible gives the correct information, even though it was written much later than the Mesopotamian documents were written. And some people have, I guess, accused biblical writers of copying what Mesopotamians had already written.
I have heard that argument spoken by people before me before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have heard
But
that.
you have heard it, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I haven't read that book. I
Mhm.
watched his series, The
Okay.
Unseen Realm, that he did. But wow, that's so interesting. So as an argument, as a response to those 7 sages,
Right.
what new light did that shed on wisdom?
Okay, because they were reportedly giving wisdom to the human race,
Mm-hmm.
most of which caused it more or less proliferated the destruction of the human race. That's what it was trying to do. The wisdom that they gave to mankind, uh, primarily caused them to destroy each other
Right.
in many different ways. You know,
That was the
and
intent, right? That's my
right,
understanding, is that was the
right,
intent behind them sharing that, those
correct,
sages sharing that information
right,
with
right.
people.
And it is alleged that this took place before the flood,
Oh, before Noah.
and then it began to resurface after the flood. And so there was what they referred to as wisdom being handed down to mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And to counter that, and I believe this is what God is revealing to me in this article that I'm writing, to counter that, God is giving us true wisdom, true insight, and it's coming from Him. And it's the type of understanding that overcomes evil. You know,
Yes.
for example, Egypt had sorcerers, magicians who had received insight, understanding of the magic arts and
Right.
so forth. And they practiced this and they were very powerful. But then Moses comes along under the guidance of God, and then he begins to demonstrate through the wisdom and guidance of God a power that was far superior to anything that the Egyptians were aware of. And
Yes.
he overcame them, you
Yes.
know.
I'm thinking of absolutely. So anything that they could do, he just discounted
Right,
immediately by showing
right,
his power. Like
right,
he
right.
their gods, so to speak,
Yes,
were
yes,
nothing in comparison to the one true
yes,
God.
yes. I believe that was one of the major reasons why Pharaoh's heart was hardened.
Tell me
Those, I
more.
think, 10 times was due to the fact that each time God was saying, "No, I'm not finished demonstrating my supremacy over the gods of Egypt."
Mm.
And that's exactly what his one of his major intentions was, to overcome the gods of Egypt, to demonstrate his sovereignty, his supremacy over them. And he did it.
And he
He
did.
did.
And I
Yeah.
find that interesting. So, what are you discerning that would be the importance of revealing this insight to you now during
Okay,
this
so
time?
so we come to the New Testament, and what I've been studying, it started in Proverbs chapter 2 when it talks about wisdom. And let me pull my Bible up here and go to Proverbs 2. I'm just going to read verse 1.
Okay. I'm going to turn with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Get my computer to cooperate here.
I'm getting my old school computer to cooperate.
You're not able to see my screen, are you?
I can't, but I can turn on your ability to share your screen. Would you like to do that? You want me to share?
Okay, whatever you think is
Yeah,
is
there you
good.
go. Yeah, go ahead and
Okay.
share your screen if you want. You should be
All
able
right.
to now.
Okay. Proverbs 2, verse 1, it says, "My son, if you receive my words and treasure up my commandments with you." Now, there's more to this, obviously, because he says, "making your ear attentive to wisdom and inclining your heart to understanding. Yes, if you call out for insight
Mm.
and raise your voice for understanding, if you seek it like silver and search for it as for hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God." Now, this is some instruction that God is giving us. And the instruction is for us to truly seek wisdom, to seek understanding, to seek knowledge, and so forth, which comes from Him, the kind that comes from Him. Because there's this evil insight, there's evil wisdom, and we have seen that with regards to what we just discussed and so forth. But
Mhm.
when I went back, when I was over in John chapter 14 and 15, that's where this study led me. And I'm going to look at my notes here. "My son, if you receive my words and treasure up my commandments with you," and you note that words and commandments, if we take a look at John 14:21 through 23, they are also used interchangeably. Words and commandments in John 14:21 and 23. So let me go there.
Okay.
Okay, and we have, "Whoever has my commandments and keeps them." So we have the word commandments. "He it is who loves me, and he who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and manifest myself to him." And then Judas, not Iscariot, said to him, "Lord, how is it that you will manifest yourself to us and not to the world? And Jesus answered him, if anyone loves me, he will keep my word, and my Father will love him. Now you notice he changed from saying commandments to word.
Yes.
So there's an interchange. These words are used interchangeably, commandments and words. So he says, if anyone loves me, he will keep my word, and my Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our home with him. Now, this portion of that verse 23, where Jesus says, my Father and I will come to him and make our home with him, I want to take a deeper look into that a little later in our discussion.
Okay.
Now, going back to my notes. The significance of Jesus manifesting himself to the one who loves him by keeping his commandments. There is a significant portion to that. And in John 15:10, he says, if you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. And then in John chapter 5, verse 19, Jesus acknowledges his complete dependency on the Father to succeed. And this is what I'm seeing. This is where wisdom comes in, godly wisdom,
Okay.
divine wisdom. He completely depends on the Father to succeed, that it is the revealing power of the Father that enabled him to do the work he was doing. Then in verse 21, he states that it is through the condition of love that the Father shows to him all that he is doing. Mm. And as we have come to understand from John 15:10, Jesus remained in his Father's love by keeping his commandments. So the commandments and love, they're the same. They go, yes.
They're intertwined. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So the correlation between words, if you keep words and commandments, and then commandments with love. So the three of those, you're rising to the surface. You're bringing.
Yeah.
I love your words here. The word, commandments of God produce a culture of love.
Exactly. Exactly.
What is the benefit of knowing that this produces a culture of love, and that insight is born from that or produced from that?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that. And that's what this is leading up to. And it says what I have here is to abide in the commandments, the word of God. When you do that, you can do no wrong to anyone, or you can do no evil to anyone. This is the place of receiving insight from God, and it is sight that is superior to what is seen in the natural order. It is ultimate reality. So Jesus is saying in John 5:19 and 20 that because he abided, he remained. That was his dwelling place, the place where he existed. Because he abided in the Father's love by obeying his commandments, that the Father would reveal to him all that he was doing.
Yes.
And whatever the Father is doing, when he reveals it to us, that is wisdom. That is insight. This is what overcomes darkness. This is what overcomes evil.
After watching the video, don't forget to subscribe.